thank you everyone for coming and joining our workshop today. I am super excited to be here. I will go ahead and say, forgive me if I'm looking down and up. It's because I'm working from two different screens here, and this technology just seems to be getting the best of me today, but I'm gonna do my best to look right into the camera so that we can engage a little bit. I will tell you right off the bat, this is a workshop, so I'm hoping that we can have some engagement. I really thrive off the energy of my audience, and I want this to be a productive time for everyone who has taken time today to come and sit through this workshop. I want you to take something away with you. So if you have questions, please put those questions in the chat. We may even have a small enough group where you can unmute or raise your hand with the little raise your hand tickler down at the bottom of the screen, but definitely put it in the chat. I'll try to stop throughout my presentation to allow you an opportunity to ask questions. But with that being said, again, thank you for coming to Turn Your Research into Revenue. My name is Tanisha Lamel. I am the owner and founder of The Clever Site, and we are a web design and digital marketing agency. The Clever Site is where we help small businesses do it big online. And we do that with beautiful website design and clever strategy to help small business owners grow their business, automate processes, and really run more efficiently, because we really feel like your website should be more than just an electronic online brochure. It should really be a tool to help you grow your business. So overview today. Normally in person, I would love to take the opportunity to get to know each one of you and why you chose to come to this workshop today, what you want to get out of this workshop today. But since it is virtual, it's a little bit different. I'm trying to adjust, but please go ahead, put your name, contact, email address, and why you chose to come to the workshop today. And if there's any specific questions that I can answer, and that way, if I don't get to the question in my presentation, I will at least try to follow up with you via email or reach out to you in another way. So the first thing we'll talk about is there profit in your problem statement? We'll talk about productizing your expertise, identifying your target market, how to grow and manage your business online, and then I will definitely take questions. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, I am the owner of The Clever Site, that's my full-time gig, but I also teach part-time at San Jacinto College. I know we probably have a lot of educators here. In addition to that, I am a mom of 3 beautiful children. So I've been a part of the Black Doctoral Network, I think for 2 or maybe 3 years now. I actually presented last year, and very happy to be presenting again here this year in 2020. Also want to let everyone know that I will be presenting again on Saturday with La Rochelle Smith, who happens to be on the call with us today. And we will be presenting fostering Black entrepreneurship on campus, a pathway to the new Black Wall Street. So I hope that you'll come and join us there again as well. I'm very happy to be presenting with La Rochelle Smith, and I think you'll learn a little bit more about us and our passion for Black entrepreneurship and helping small business owners. It's one of the reasons why I'm here today. I really, really believe in Black entrepreneurship. I believe that is our pathway to our own wealth and our future. Unfortunately, we probably don't have time to do the get to know yous on the virtual. But again, like I said, if you would put your information in the chat and let me know how I can help you and what you would like to gain or learn from this session today. So, is there profit in your problem statement? Meet your problems with confidence and creativity, and they will turn into opportunities. Now, as a scholar, I'm sure you have invested in yourself. You are an expert in your field, but if you have written that dissertation, or if you were writing that dissertation, in the process of defending that dissertation, whatever, if you have had any experience with creating a dissertation, then you understand the importance of a problem statement, right? You spent a lot of time researching that problem statement, and you've probably invested quite a bit of time, money, and energy. What I want to do is take that problem statement and make that problem statement work for you. What I'd really like to do is take this dissertation and make it pay for itself, or this doctoral education and make it pay for itself, because as we know, if you are in that doctoral journey, it can be very expensive, right? So let's turn that research into revenue. Let's take the expertise that you have gained through blood, sweat, and tears, right? And make it pay for itself. So now's the time to see return on that that investment, again, by turning research into revenue. So what we're going to talk about is productizing your expertise. Intellectual capital is the most valuable of all factors of production. If you think about it, I have a background in HR, and I used to tell everyone, you know, I believe that your human capital is your most valuable capital. You have to treat your employees right. And that is because they bring the intellectual capital. So there are 5 things that you should be asking yourself to determine if you have a viable business idea. And we'll talk about that again a little bit more on the next slide as we continue to talk about productizing your expertise. I'm going to go ahead and bring these on. There we go. So again, as we talk about productizing your expertise, we're talking about taking this problem statement that you came up, you identified a problem that exists in your community, somewhere, there's a problem that exists somewhere in the world that you have researched, and you have now become an expert in this problem. Not only have you researched the problem, but you've researched the population, right? So you understand who this problem affects. So you have a lot of information, but just having that information isn't enough. In order to turn that information, that research, into a profitable revenue stream, then you want to ask yourself these questions. You want to ask yourself why. First of all, why are you doing this? Why did you start this research? Because honestly, being a small business owner, if you're only in it for the money, you're going to be very disappointed, because being a business owner is a lot of hard work. But I know you're up for it because you've completed or have at least started a dissertation or some type of doctoral journey. So I definitely believe that you can do it. But again, you want to know your why. And then what's the problem you're going to solve? And maybe you didn't actually solve a problem with your dissertation or with your research, but you did come up with some information to make someone's life better, right? So then the next step is going to be, who is your client? And this can get to be a little bit tricky, because your client may not necessarily be the person you're serving, right? So say, for instance, you came up with a problem that helps kids, right? Well, just because your research, your expertise is going to help kids, they probably aren't going to be the ones paying for your service. So that means the children are not your client. So you need to figure out, okay, well, is my client the parent? Is my client the school district? Is it a government agency? So really think about, who is your client? Who are you actually trying to serve? And who is going to be willing to pay for that service? Who's going to be willing to pay for your expertise? The next thing you want to think about when you're talking about productizing that expertise is, how are you going to deliver your product or service? Are you looking to deliver your expertise in the form of a book? Are you going to publish it? Are you looking to deliver it do you want to become a speaker, a consultant? There are several different ways that you can actually deliver this expertise, package it up, whether it be hourly, workshops, seminars, many different ways that you can deliver your product or service as a result of your research. Then you want to think about where you will operate your business. And so much of this is even beyond just your intellectual capital. So these are questions you're going to want to ask yourself, regardless of the type of business that you're looking to open. If you are looking to open a boutique or a cookie shop, whatever the case may be, these 5 questions really will apply to anyone. And just to give you a little bit of background, and I probably should have started here, I want to talk about my dissertation and how I turned my research into revenue. So my dissertation was on identifying the best practices of minority and women small business owners in government contracting. So I wanted to find out, my problem statement was minority and women small business owners receive far fewer government grants and far lower award amounts than their non-minority counterparts. So that was the problem. I spent years, took me 6 years to get my DBA. I spent years researching that problem. I spent years talking to small business owners operating in government contracts, those who were successful and not so successful, completed a modified Delphi study to identify 26 best practices. So this information that I was able to glean from the 15 experts in their field is valuable. It's priceless to me, and it's priceless to other small business owners who are attempting to either go after government contracts or even beyond that, because the information that I was able to pull from my study my results from the study, they can literally be applied to any business owner. And I'll talk about those results later and how they can help you even as you begin to try to turn your research into revenue. So I was able to productize this expertise and offer it through consulting, speaking, and helping other small business owners in other ways that hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about a little bit later. So wherever you operate your business, what type of legal entity, you don't have to be an LLC or incorporate your business right away to get started. You can be a solopreneur and get a DBA. It does not really take a lot to get started and to be a business owner. It takes a lot to be successful, but to just get to start your dream and to get it rolling, it takes a little bit of commitment, time, and effort. You can get the DBA. That's the easiest way to start. Or you can go for the LLC route. And of course, there are pros and cons to both, but you're going to want to get some legal and accounting advice on that. Physical location. Well, in this day and age, everybody's physical location is probably at home for the most part. Well, I was at home before the COVID, before the pandemic. I work from home. Like I said, for full time, I'm a web designer. I do all of my business virtually, and it is becoming the way of the world. So even if you are looking to have some type of boutique or brick and mortar, you're still going to want to be able to operate online. So that's something that that's the next one is your online real estate, is how will you show up and appear online? And that's beyond just your social media platforms. That is, of course, but of course your website is going to be very important as well. And when will you start living your dream? So once you've considered these 5 questions, once you've taken all of this into consideration, now you've got to ask yourself, okay, when am I going to get this thing started? When am I going to take this research? When am I going to take all this knowledge, all these years, all this blood, sweat, and tears and make it pay for itself, make it work for me? And I recommend you set some SMART goals. And if you've never heard of SMART goals, you can Google it, but you want to be specific with your goals. You want them to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. I won't get too much into that today, but I'm sure most of you have probably heard of SMART goals before. If you have not, again, you can Google that and sit down and write SMART goals for your business. Identifying your target market. So understand why you're different and how you can help. Recognize your target market and give them something that they might not even realize they are missing. Many people make the mistake of thinking their target market consists of the people that will benefit from their products and services. And I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, and that's not always true. Your target market is the group who is going to pay for your products and services, okay? And just because you're offering a service to someone and it's something that you've been offering on a volunteer basis, people have been calling you up to pick your brain. Think about this brain is worth something, right? We paid for the knowledge and the expertise that we have. So, and it's worth a whole lot more than just a cup of coffee or, so think about, the time and the energy that you're giving away and figure out, okay, if it's valuable to friends and family or others that know me in the professional world, then it's probably going to be valuable on the commercial market as well. So it is very important that you understand the psychology of the buyer, because this will not only influence your marketing strategy, but it's also going to influence your price point and your product positioning. Like I said, just because you have a product that is geared towards kids, it doesn't mean that your product has to be priced based on an allowance, because they are not going to be the ones usually that are going to be making the purchase and buying the service or the product that you're offering. So building your brand online. Obviously, this is probably where I'll spend a good bit of time because this is my level of expertise. But I do want to say that you don't have to have, a website that costs several $1,000s to get started. There are several ways that you can get started for very minimal cost. Now, I will say this. A website is going to cost you something. It's going to either cost you money or it's going to cost you time. Okay, but there is technology out there. They're making it a lot easier for you to go in and build your own website. But there are definitely ways to get it done. And there's several offerings out there just to get started. Don't let technology or the fear of technology be the thing that holds you back from building your brand online. If nothing else, you get a nice landing page, something where people can come and visit you online and know that you are real, that you're validated, that the website in this day and age, it's your calling card, right? If you tell someone you're in business, the first thing they're going to do is go and look you up online. So you want to make sure you have a nice online presence, even if it's not a 15, 20 page website, even if it's not drawing you traffic yet, you still want to have that presence so that people can find you and they can contact you online. It's the world we live in. Michael Hyatt, he says your website is undoubtedly the single most important branding tool that you can have. And so I do encourage, when you do get to the point to where you can invest in your website, it's going to be very important, because it's how people judge you in this world today in terms of your credibility. So why build your brand online? Again, for legitimacy. It's perceived value. When someone sees, a nice professional website, they think you're a nice professional company. It's just, human nature. Professionalism, and again, it provides you that home base. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm selling, I'm getting calls from Instagram or Facebook and Twitter. Well, you don't own any of those platforms, and Mike Zuckerberg or whoever can shut those down today or tomorrow. Not only will you lose all your data, all your content, it goes away. It goes away. And so you want to have that virtual home base where you are in control of the content that is there, the people that visit, you're able to collect that information and store it for future references. So a professionally designed logo and strategically crafted message on your website will establish a level of credibility and trust for current customers as well as prospective buyers. So I talked about doing the web design yourself, and you're probably thinking, well, why would a web designer tell me how to go and do it myself? Well, because I understand. I was a startup business owner at one time, and I understand that a website can be a very expensive cost, and it may not be where you need to spend your money as a startup. It just depends. So here are the things that you need just to get started. You're definitely going to want to have a domain name, an email address, and I do recommend a professional email address, not a Gmail address, not an AOL address, because it really does set you apart. If someone sends me a professional email from a Gmail, my first thought is this person isn't even willing to invest $6 in themselves. So how much are they really going to invest in what I'm asking them to complete for me on my behalf? I think a professional email address and a professional domain name, it's very inexpensive. You can get it, go to one of the hosts. I'm going to share some tools and different resources for you where you can get this set up. Even if you don't have a web designer yet, or if you know you're not going to do it yourself, you can still secure your domain name and your email address. You definitely will at some point need a host. Your host is where your website lives, and you want to start developing the content for your website. Now, your content for your website is not going to be the content from your dissertation. Okay, this has to be sales copy. So it has to be short, it has to be concise, it has to be to the point, and it has to express your unique value proposition. Very, very important. Brittany, how am I looking on time?
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay, right. Any questions yet? Any questions about anything? Or can I keep going? And I know I talk fast, so I apologize if you have questions. Brittany told me yesterday, make sure you slow down. No questions yet?
She just, it's not a question, but I'll give you a pause. She said, I came to this workshop because I was interested in learning more about how to market my skill set and perhaps engage in consulting.
Awesome. Who was that from, Brittany?
Tiffany Young.
Tiffany, would you mind unmuting and getting on screen? I'd love to address your question.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Let's see, I can't see. Okay, I can't see it on my screen, but okay, Tiffany, hi, how are you? Thank you for coming and thank you for your question.
I'm good, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. So you wanna know how to market your business and how you can possibly do some consulting?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your area of expertise?
Right now I'm getting my doctorate in education, and I am looking at how coping with racism and discrimination impacts Black women in the workplace.
Oh, phenomenal, Tiffany. Let's talk. Listen, that is so important right now. Obviously, I don't have to tell you, you know what's going on in our world. So many people are looking for that expertise. So many people need that expertise. So yes, absolutely. You can package that. You can put together, Oh gosh, we could have a whole one-on-one session right here. I get so excited about hearing people when they have this idea for a business and they have a passion or an expertise or something. But you can definitely package that as a consultant. And what you're going to want to think about, Tiffany, are, what are the specific areas where you can help people? How can you help people with the information you have? What is the problem you're looking to solve? And again, before you talked about how to market your business, before you can begin marketing your business so that you're not wasting time or money, who are you going to be marketing this business to? Now, just based on what you told me, it's an education. So I'm thinking you're probably going to be marketing to other educators or other administrators. And so I'm not sure, but you're going to want to think about, do you need to niche down to a specific group? Are you going to look just at higher ed? Are you going to look at private schools? Are you going to look at K through 12? Those are things that you want to look at when we talk about identifying and determining your target market. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I'm going to keep going, and Tiffany, Brittany, we'll stop again for a few more questions. Guys, here is this is just a list of DIY tools and free resources if you're looking to go the DIY route with your website. And again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Excuse me, to be honest, it's how I fell into web design. I started off building my own website and then, realized that it was something that I was passionate about and really enjoyed doing. So, but again, I told you, you have to have a domain and a host. You can't have a website without these two things. And here are just a few providers. GoDaddy, everybody's probably heard of GoDaddy, HostGator, Bluehost, WP Engine. There are so many more out there. Do your research. These are some that definitely GoDaddy and WP Engine they're very easy to get. Well, GoDaddy is easy to get started with. WP Engine's a little bit more expensive. The top three are the ones I would say are probably the easiest to do a startup website. They also have website builders built into those hosts. I don't recommend any of those. But if you are going to go the DIY route, I suggest you go with one of the WYSIWYG website builders. And again, this is, like I said, this is to start. This is just temporary to get you out there. You're definitely going to want to expand beyond this when you talk about using your website as a tool to grow, to get new clients. But Wix is a very easy to use tool. Weebly, Squarespace is also very user-friendly. WordPress is the way to go, but WordPress will require a learning curve. But if you are looking at building a website and making a long-term investment in your site, the WordPress platform is free. You do need to purchase your domain and host, but a WordPress website is something that you can, I only build on WordPress now. I'll say that as a website, I only build on WordPress. I think it is the best. It has search engine optimization built in, but I won't spend a lot of time talking about that. You're definitely going to need some good quality photography on your website. And here are just a few places for you to get some free photography. Please don't download images from Google. You can get in big trouble for that. So use these sites for your stock photography. And then different image editors, if you want to take backgrounds out, resize images and so forth. These image editors, I believe all of these, when I created this presentation, were free. I think they still are, but don't hold me to that. But PicMonkey, GIMP, they may be a little bit tricky, but now I know you can do so much editing, you guys, on your phones. I know my kids edit stuff on their iPhone all the time. So you can do that as long as it's a good quality, high resolution image. You can use that on your website. Okay. So now we're going to talk about growing your business, right? Because once you have a business, or once you have that DBA, you've got your doing business as, or your LLC, or whatever entity you decide, we want to talk about growing your business, right? Because growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together, right? So you want to make sure that you're in growth mode when you start your business, right? Otherwise, you'll never own a business. You'll only own a job. And trust me, I've been there. You don't want to just build something that works you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because it can get to be exhausting. And I have been there. And honestly, I'm telling you, it's I tend to go back there sometimes because the business is growing. I'm so very grateful now to say that I have a small team of 6, and it just makes life so much easier. I'm so happy again to have Brittany on board. And thank you again, Brittany Reed, for being here today and helping me through this presentation. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to have assistance and with growing your business. And we can talk about this a little bit later, but there's so many out of the box ways that you can grow your business and hire and get help, whether it be bringing someone on full time, using freelancers, interns, several ways that you can grow your team. But even before we talk about growing your team, we're going to talk about having a clever strategy. And this is something I developed, again, kind of as a result of my research. These are the core values that everyone needs when they in order to grow their business. And so I've created a curriculum called the Clever Strategy. And these are the areas where we spend time on in that curriculum. First, it's getting clarity around your vision, knowing your why. Knowing what it is that you're trying to accomplish. How do you see yourself as a business owner? How do you see your business positioned in the community, in the state, in the world? Where is your business going to serve? But getting clarity around your vision, because if you're not clear about it, no one on your team is going to be clear about it. Your customers aren't going to be clear about it. And it's just going to be, you're going to be spinning your wheels. The next is leadership. This was one of the top issues in terms of best practices that came from my research, leadership and execution, as a matter of fact. But leadership, building that leadership team, like I said, there are several out of the box ways that you can do that. Execution, how do you actually implement this strategy once you have it? Okay, I've got all this knowledge, I've productized my intellectual capital. Okay, here's my pricing package. This is what I'm going to offer, and this is how I'm going to offer it. Now, how do I make this thing run? How do I get paid? How do I hire employees? How do I communicate with my clients? And so that's something else that I can help with, or share more information with you on a later date. There's so many tools out there that will help you execute. I believe I shared some of those later in the presentation as well, but execution, project management, there's so many tools that could help you with that, and to do it efficiently and to do it well. Value, we talked about value proposition earlier. You may have a great product, you may have the best product on the market, but if you don't explain the value proposition, what is your unique value proposition? Why should somebody buy it from you? There are hundreds, thousands of consultants out there in the world doing exactly what you say you're doing, but they're probably not doing it like you do it. So you have to be able to express that unique value proposition. I can't tell you how many web designers are out there, but I can tell you they are not the clever site, and they don't do it the way I do it. I use clever strategy and beautiful design to set my clients apart so that their websites are not just a beautiful online brochure. It's a tool within their business. And so you want to make sure you articulate that unique value proposition. The economics of your business, okay? You've got to know your numbers. You've got to know, you don't want to just set a random price just because this is what your competition is charging. You need to know how much it is going to cost you to actually deliver something. And people often think that, well, if I have a home office and I'm just selling intellectual capital, there's no overhead or no expense involved. And that is definitely not true. So you want to really think through the economics of your business, write out your startup plan, have a budget, have your profit and loss statement pre-planned, so that you can really understand your numbers from the beginning. And then relationships and resources. Again, all of these areas from the Clever Strategy are areas that were part of the 26 best practices from the Minority and Women Small Business Owners study I did, the Modified Delphi study I did with the MWBEs. Clarity, again, and I kind of went over it, but I'll go through these quickly. Just to kind of give you an idea, to empower small business owners who want to change the world by helping them to grow and scale their business. That's my mission statement. The vision, the Clever Side is a full service consulting firm. We support service-based business owners around the world by providing low-cost solutions to increase efficiency, improve productivity, and be more profitable. My plan or the strategy is to teach clever business strategy, employ subject matter experts, and utilize technology. This is how I get it done. So this is the clarity around the clever side. So you want to come up with the clarity around your business idea. Leadership. Again, we talked about out of the box ways for recruiting and hiring. Obviously, as a startup, you can't you don't have payroll right now, or can't afford to payroll, a bunch of people right now, but there's a way to build your team slowly and to do it the right way. And then once you have your team, you want to make sure training and development, this was again, a huge part of the study, very, very important in terms of being successful in business. Regardless of whether you're doing government contracting or commercial contracting or business to consumer, it doesn't matter. You have to have strong leadership, even if you are the only leadership or leader within your company as you start off as a solopreneur. Execution, project management. We talked about the different tools that you can use to help with project management, business processes and procedures, quality insurance, things that you want to think about when you are developing this business idea. So if you're looking to be a consultant, how are you going to manage your projects? How are you going to keep your clients separate? How are you going to keep all of that information about that particular client? How are you going to keep your schedule? How are people going to make appointments with you? Again, all of that has to be worked out ahead of time. What are your business processes and procedures? Once you do it once, you want to kind of systemize your process so that you're not recreating the wheel every time with every client. Do you have templates in place? Do you have systems in place online so that you have things that are automated so that your days can be more efficient? And then how are you maintaining quality? It may be very easy to ensure the quality as long as you're the only person that's delivering or you're the only person talking to your clients. But as you start to grow and you want to grow, if nothing else, you want to be able to hire an assistant to help schedule and, to be able to pick up some of the slack. You want to make sure that they are delivering that same level of quality that you are delivering. And then value, understanding your market, identifying your niche, and articulating what sets you apart. So I shared on this a little bit. Obviously, I've given this presentation a couple of times because I tend to get ahead of myself. So sorry about that. We talked about economics, knowing the money, understanding your numbers, pricing strategy. How will you price your consulting, right? How you have this knowledge. It's unique to you, but consulting is not. But you want to figure out what is the value of the knowledge that you bring. And so there are pricing models out there. There are different pricing models, and you have to figure out what works best for you and what is feasible for your clients. Okay. I definitely always recommend having multiple revenue streams. So maybe you package your consulting. You have different ways you can sell it. Maybe you do it through speaking. Maybe you do it through speaking and publishing. Maybe you do it through workshops. There are several different ways that you can package that expertise. You can also do it through venture capital partnerships, which is another awesome way to have another stream of revenue based on your intellectual capital. And then access to funding, identifying the resources out there. I can tell you there are so many resources that we tend to either not be aware of or feel intimidated about going after for whatever reason. But having access to funding and positioning yourself, which is very, very important, positioning yourself to be able to go after that funding. And it's all a part about knowing your numbers. And if you come to the workshop on Saturday, La Rochelle is going to be sharing with you her concept of the business quad squad to help you get this part of your business in order. Documents, cash flow statement, balance sheet, profit and loss statement. And then here are just a few tools that I use. PayPal, QuickBooks, ADT, I don't use anymore, but PayPal and QuickBooks are very good tools, inexpensive tools for you to help get control of your numbers very early on. And then relationships. Effective relationship building is huge. And customer relationship management is also very, very huge. So there are CRMs, which are customer relationship management systems that can help you manage these relationships online. So when you meet people and you meet with clients and you want to document that information, and you want to document the client journey and the client process, there are several CRMs out there that can help you do that and will really help you automate your process. We're beyond the days of writing everything down in a notebook. You can actually have things online and in the cloud where you can access it on your phone. That way, if that customer that you talked with 6 months ago calls you, you can look them up really quick on your phone and remember the last conversation you had, and be able to further that relationship. The customer, just to give you an example, some of you probably have heard of Salesforce. That's probably one of the biggest CRMs that's out there. It is very expensive, but there are free tools out there for free CRMs as well. And I think I'll list those later. Managing your business. The true measure of the value of any business leader and manager is performance. So how do you measure your business? So these are the tools I was just mentioning we would get to. Project management, I use Asana. I love Asana. I know La Rochelle uses Basecamp. That's a great one as well. There's Teamwork, there's Monday, there's several project management tools out there that you can use as a small business owner, and most of them have a free version, which is just enough to get you started. But I definitely recommend using some type of project management tool. Project management was the overall theme for minority and women small business owners as their #1 challenge for losing contracts. And it was their #1 best practice for what made them successful when they were able to master their project management. And it's very difficult to do without some type of tool. So again, I recommend you getting that as you start. And a lot of this may seem like, oh, it's a lot just to get started. I just have an idea. But there's some things that you want to put in place from the beginning. And having a project management tool is definitely one of them. Capacity and capabilities. I talked about building your team and hiring. There are some out of the box ways that you can do it. You don't have to bring on a whole bunch of full-time or even part-time employees right away. You can bring on interns. You can bring them on a part-time basis. You can bring them on a contract basis. You can hire freelancers. There's freelancers.com, fiverr.com, upwork.com. These are places where you can get things done for very little cost. There is going to be some vetting involved, again, if because often you get what you pay for. And so, but again, sometimes you just need to get started. So I'd rather you do something than nothing at all. You can always upgrade. You can always upgrade your logo, your website, your business card. And who knows, you may find the right person and get it done the way you want it the first time. But there are ways to get this thing done. So I just want to encourage everybody, if you have a dream, if you have a desire to start a business, do it, because this is what we need to do to keep our future going. Business processes and systems. I talked about having those systems in place. Again, these are just some of the tools that I use. Dropbox, QuickBooks, G Suite, Microsoft Office, PayPal, and Square. And then relationships, building those relationships through social media. I don't think you can run a business in this day and time and not be at least present on social media. And I can tell you, social media is part of my business, but I don't enjoy it. I thank God I have digital marketing agency or digital marketing assistant, Emily, that does all of that for me. And so some of you may be like me. You go down that black hole anytime you click on Facebook and you end up talking to your great cousin or so yeah, I try not to spend a lot of time on social media, even for business sake. I leave that to my digital marketing assistant. But you do need to be communicating on a regular basis on multiple platforms to your target audience. So that's part, again, of identifying who that target audience is, and then understanding how you want to communicate with them. Just some other tools here. I'm going to keep going because I do want to allow. Was that okay? Great. So this actually is a free offer I have for you. That actually is my presentation. So we do have about 20 minutes. Oh, that was fast. We have about 20 minutes for questions, but I do want to say that I'll pull this back up just in case, because these are some really great resources in case you guys wanted to write those down. But again, I was going to say, I do have a free offer for you on my website. If you go to my website, and you can get it either by going to thecleversite.com. If you leave out the "the," you won't get me. So make sure you put in THE, cleversite.com, or you can scan the QR code that is here with your phone. And you will see, you can download the 5 things every business owner can fix on their website in the next week to grow their business online. And actually, if you download that book today, again, for free, then I will be emailing you about a free webinar workshop that I will be doing. It'll be a limited number, but I'm going to be working one-on-one. Well, it'll be an open webinar with up to 10 to 12 people. I haven't decided on the exact number or date yet, but it will be more workshop style where everybody will be unmuted. sharing ideas and asking questions. And I will be going through an overview of the Clever strategy. So if you're interested in that, download the book. That means you will be on my email list so that you can get information about that upcoming webinar.